we just watched the presentation on Senate Bill 1031, which would restrict the health districts. One of the other things that happened during the pandemic was Governor Little kept re-upping the emergency orders.
Yes.
He did it 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days.
And the Attorney General told him that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. So Representative Price out of Coeur d'Alene, District 4, has a bill to limit that so that we're not perpetually under some sort of state of emergency. Let's watch a little bit of her presentation.
So once again, just a change to the language to add that in case of a disaster emergency related to fires, floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, or invasive species, the governor may declare a disaster emergency without exercising his authority to convene a special session.
Are there questions for Representative Price? Representative Mickelson.
You tell me where on the bill it says he doesn't have to. I'm reading this and it's saying
Page 1, lines 27 through 29, Representative, are the new additions that provided, however. So in those cases that are listed there, then the governor doesn't have to call us back in.
Okay, so then my follow-up question would
Certainly.
is what emergencies then would he need to call us back in for under this? Like what other things aren't here that would fall under this, I guess?
Representative Price.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Representative. Any disaster other than those. So, for example, the pandemic that happened in 2020.
Representative Dygert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good representative. I'm looking at line 38 where it talks about 60 days is the length of the disaster emergency. Is that enough time when we get these catastrophic wildfires that have been known to last till winter?
Representative Price.
Mr. Chair and Representative, we've excluded those wildfires, so that would not apply. But if you look at lines 35 and 36, it specifies right above that, no longer than 30 days unless the governor finds it should be continued for another 30 days. So we're just restating that in clear language.
Follow up.
So does that mean he can take 60 to 90 on the case of a wildfire?
Representative.
Chairman Crane and Representative, they are not included in this specific change, so I cannot answer that question.
Any further questions for Representative Price? Seeing none, the RS is properly before the committee. Representative Scott.
I move that we send RS 32659 to the floor with it. I'm sorry, to the. I move that we introduce RS 32659 and send to the second reading.
Committee, we have a motion to introduce RS 32659 and send to the second reading. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried. It will be done. Would you like to be recorded as voting no? Okay.
All right, very good. So, I mean, yeah, that's the kind of stuff we need around here, right, Brian?
Yeah, of course. You know, the problem was with the interpretation of the state of emergency language in our laws. Can you do it for 30 days and another 30 days and then another 30 days after that indefinitely, which is the interpretation that the governor and the previous attorney general made? Or does it mean that you do it for 30 days and another 30 days and then you have to call the legislature in if you want to continue it, which is what a lot of people thought it meant at the time. But now this bill is specifying that. Originally, the bill said that you'd have to call the legislature in for a special session to call any state of emergency. But it was pointed out that the governor uses that language, that mechanism for things like wildfires or floods, and so perhaps those should be exempted, which this new version does. It seems reasonable to me. You know, the legislature, that was one of the big problems of 2020 is that the governor called a state of emergency right after the legislature went out adjourned, which they probably shouldn't have adjourned in that case, and then wouldn't call them back. So the bureaucracy, the executive branch, was ruling the state in this moment of emergency, making all sorts of decisions that affected countless lives, and our legislators were sitting on the sideline, unable to do anything. So that this makes sure that anything that happens again, our lawmakers, our elected representatives, the 105 people that we sent here to make the laws, will be able to weigh in on how those proceed.
Yeah, very good.